Hello. We are back with another Top 5 exclusive here on MacGuffinPodcast.com. I'm Alan.
I'm Brandi.
And today we're going to have a little fun. We're going to be talking about our top 5 female villains.
This is a hard list for me. There's a lot of good choices.
This was a hard one for me too. A lot of the ones I went with were really I wouldn't say like classic, but definitely like personal choices.
Yeah, I definitely went off the beaten path a little bit for this one. Like, there's a lot of ones that you hear on lists of best villains of all time, and I tried to kind of like pick off that and just say personal favorites as well.
Cool.
So,
okay, I'll go ahead and start off. My number 5 character was from a film from 2003, directed by Quentin Tarantino. It was O-Ren Ishii, played by Lucy Liu. This girl is cold-blooded, man. You say the wrong thing, she will jump on that table and cut your head right off. I mean, she's master swordsman. She was part of that crew. She went around and beat up the bride.
She's part of that crew. She's the leader of that crew.
Okay, yeah, she's the leader of that crew. And then Tarantino gave her a really cool background. I mean, the animated scene in Kill Bill Volume 1 doesn't really have a point for being there, but I think
most of Kill Bill Volume 1 doesn't have much of a point except for being there.
Yeah, the point, but I mean, it was totally cool.
Oh, yeah,
I love
totally
that character. It was a fun character, and that final battle scene between her and the bride was really, really well done. So.
Yeah, I have to say that I thought long and hard about a lot of the characters from Kill Bill. I almost put Elle Driver on my list, but I didn't.
I had trouble with that one.
I mean, it is like pretty great for this kind of list, and I left all of them off pretty much because I couldn't choose between them.
Okay.
So
cool.
All right. My number 5 is a shout out to the recent Harry Potter finale. Huge fan. And that is Bellatrix Lestrange, who is the most twisted female Death Eater of them all, who tries her very hardest not just to win the battle, but to murder the people that will cause the most pain to everyone else in the battle. Like, not just winning the battle, but winning it with the most evil glee that you can ever imagine. And it's a small role in the films, it's a small role in the books, but Helena Bonham Carter absolutely nails it in the films. She is terrifying, and I just had to put it on there. I just had to give that shout out. When
you have Helena Bonham Carter, you're going to get a whole bunch of awesomeness going on.
Yeah, she is weird but awesome.
Obvious. Yeah, great. Yeah. My number 4 is from a film from 1992. The film is called Batman Returns, and the character is Catwoman, Selena Kyle, played by Michelle Pfeiffer. Okay, so Batman Returns not exactly follows with the actual storyline of Batman. Tim Burton definitely made a few changes, amongst the characters, but I really liked Michelle Pfeiffer in this role. She's great as this
like when she does cartwheels down the street or whatever.
Oh, yeah. The tight leather outfit. Whew, yeah, gotcha. But, she was great as, this borderline psychotic out for revenge against Christopher Walken. I mean, it's a great role. Anne Hathaway has big shoes to fill with the Dark Knight Rises, but, we'll see what happens. I still like this character.
You don't think she can pull off the leather?
We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I mean, when Heath Ledger did the Joker, a lot of people were like, whoa, but you know how that turned out.
All right, number 4, this is the title character from a film that is possibly my favorite film of all time. Ask me, it depends on the day. And that is Eve from All About Eve.
Yeah.
A movie that is just like, incredibly well acted, incredibly well scripted. The dialogue is insane. And Eve, she is a master manipulator. She is so subtle that the other characters in the film don't even realize how diabolical she is, except for Bette Davis's Margot Channing. And then other characters kind of start to get a hint at it. I mean, this is like, without All About Eve, there would be no, like, single white female. Like, this is the kind of thing that we're talking about. Trying to take over another person's life, but still have a smile on your face the whole time. Is there Oh, is
Yeah,
there anything more creepy?
I'm right there with you. I mean, I was really close. Eve was one of my honorable mentions for this list because I knew you were going to put it on there. You know, I mean, she just,
you know how much I love this
she
movie.
just does it with like such subtlety and like you want to be like, oh, but you can't do anything
on her
about
face
it
the whole time, and nobody believes Margot. Everyone thinks she's being paranoid.
But
I mean, it's
the nice thing though is that at the end of that film, it does seem like the tables have turned.
Oh yes.
So, yeah.
Oh yes, they have.
All right, let's move on to my number 3. My number 3 character is from a film from 1973. It's Regan from The Exorcist.
Okay, I'm gonna say that I briefly thought about this, and then I thought she's really just a vessel, right? Like she's just the tool for the real villain, Satan,
whether it's a vessel or not. That's
everything.
one creepy vessel, man. That's all I gotta say. I mean, you got the spinning head, you got the pea soup, you got the spider walk. I mean, for the longest time, I couldn't even watch that movie because I was so freaked out by that character. I mean, it's just one of those classic movie villains, one of those classic movie monsters. So,
yeah, I mean, I don't disagree, but I don't know, possession. It kind of walks the line about.
Well, I mean, when you say villain, I like to think that it umbrellas, you know, vessels also.
All right. My number 3 is another one from one of my favorite movies of all time, and I actually will say that I had several characters that were Disney villains from the traditional cartoons that I was debating between.
Yeah, I was gonna put Ursula.
I was gonna put Ursula too. I was thinking about Yzma from Emperor's New Groove, one of the funniest villains of all time. But what I actually settled on is Maleficent from Sleeping Beauty because she is vicious, and I actually think that the art of the character, the way she's drawn, is absolutely gorgeous. The voice actor, whose name I don't know, but it's one of my favorite voice actors in cartoons ever. She's wonderful. The character herself is just twisted and crazy, and I like the villains that sort of like slowly go mad over the course of the film, and I think that that's one of the only ones of the Disney movies that pulls it off so well. It's really just like I wait for the moments in Sleeping Beauty when Maleficent shows up, and it is my favorite Disney cartoon of all time. So
it's been a really, really long time since I've seen that movie. I barely remember anything from it, but I mean, you know, I know how much you love that movie. Maybe I'll give it another shot. You know.
Yeah, I think you said that to me like a year ago, and it still hasn't happened.
Well, it's still on the list.
Okay.
My number 2, I'm going to go a little bit out of the box on this one. I'm going to go to Japan. The character is Asami from Takashi Miike's Audition.
Okay. I thought about this one too.
I don't even really like this movie all that much, but I had to put this character...
Yeah, it's not something that I need to be like talking about or returning to.
I had to put this character in there because she is a freak. She is crazy, dude. If she's not like putting like little prickly things into your eyeballs or cutting off your feet, she's putting you in a burlap sack. You know, I mean, and it's always
that would be worse.
Yeah, it's
burlap sack versus prickles in your eyes.
I have a fear of burlap sacks. I mean, what are you gonna do? It's always like the quiet, shy ones that are always the craziest, right? In these kind of movies. Man, I
thought about a few Asian horror movies where I was like, I can't talk about that though because it's kind of a spoiler that at the end they turn out to be the horrible.
I think when you go into Audition, you kind of know what's going on.
This one, not so much, but there's a few that really support that sort of like, it's all the shy, quiet ones, you know, because there's like, a lot where they turn out to be like, have messed with you the whole time.
And that is one of the craziest characters I've seen, you know, female or male in a movie ever, so...
I bet I know someone who's crazier.
Uh-oh.
And that is Baby Jane Hudson, played by Betty Davis in Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. Because, does your character serve her wheelchair-bound sister rat on a silver tray for dinner? Because I think that's a pretty crazy thing to do, and that is the thing that happens in this film, among other things. Absolutely sensational film. Just wonderful take on late era noir, crazy shit going on. Joan Crawford and Betty Davis are both at their height, you know, past their prime by definition of attractiveness, but absolutely at their prime as far as what they can do on screen. And it was a gift that they got to do this film together. I think because you don't often,
matchups.
I mean, you can talk about how hard it is to see women who are in their 50s and 60s get a role in a starring role in a film, let alone them playing off of each other. Like, for two aging stars to be able to play off of each other in a film is a gift that you just don't see that very often. And Bette Davis is insane in this movie. Absolutely insane. Like, I love it so much. I love her performance so much. And encountering her on the street would have just been off-putting. Let's say that.
I think you've said it all. Great pick. Great pick.
Yeah.
All right. My number one is one of those classic characters. It's from a film from 1975. I'm sorry, Brandi, we've already voted. You cannot watch TV. It is Nurse Ratched.
I thought about this one too.
Louise
I left
Fletcher.
this one off. I did leave this one off.
You know, there's some characters that are so bad that you love them. I do not love this character. I hate this character. Much in the same way with Eve, where it's kind of subtle. She does it with, like, you know, we're going by the rules. We have to have it this way. I will not change. I will not be lenient. We will not break the rules.
She just,
blah, blah,
I swear,
blah,
she
blah.
doesn't even blink half the time, and you're just like, are you real?
Yeah.
Like, what? Are you messing with me?
I mean, Jack Nicholson's like, come on, just give us, like, all we want to do is watch the World Series. And she's like, nope. Nope, we can't do it.
Isn't
I'm
that
sorry.
the worst too? You're like, it's the World
It's
Series.
the World Series. Like, what can you do? I mean, it's a great performance of a character that I hate. But what are you gonna do? So.
There are a few other characters for you to my number one that I just like. They're total like no-brainers for great female villains, like Alex Forrest in Fatal Attraction, Annie Wilkes in Misery, Mrs. Danvers in Rebecca, Wicked Witch of the West. Like, I left all those off in favor of my number one because the reason this is my number one villain is because this is this is the kind of evil woman that people encounter in everyday life. This doesn't have to take place in a story. This doesn't have to be in a fairy tale. You don't have to have her wanting to kill you. This is the girl who will ruin your life and you won't even realize she's doing it. And that is Regina from Mean Girls, played by Rachel McAdams. She is awful. She is so awful. And every woman I know knows a Regina who ruined her life. I swear to God.
Really?
Smartest female villain I've ever seen, because all she wants to do is make you feel like shit. She doesn't want to kill you. She doesn't want to bury you. She doesn't want to take a sledgehammer to your ankles. She just wants to make you feel like shit. Number one villain of all time.
Wow. I am definitely going to have to re-rent that film and study the intricate nuances of that character. Wow, you really
all the
thought
ladies
about
out
this
there
one.
understand. They really understand. I swear it.
All right, cool. Excellent. All right, so that does it for our top 5 female villains. Again, there are a ton out there. I mean,
there's lots of good stuff.
Norma Desmond, Phyllis Dietrich Sins were some that I was thinking about putting
Crystal
on there
Allen,
also.
Joan Crawford and the Women.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
So,
like, there's great stuff.
If you have any that you'd like to talk about, please let us know here at MacGuffinPodcast.com, and we will see you guys at the next top 5.
Thanks for watching.
Peace.